Before we get into today's Q&A, I got to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor, Printing Aliens. These guys are absolutely crushing it with creepy, cosmic, nature aesthetic, casual wear, funny, horror-themed designs, and, of course, alien tees. They just dropped 2 exclusive designs from Silver Underworld's Scary Story, me. And let me tell you, they look insane. It's a clean, unisex fit. It's open to everyone, no matter your vibe. And the best part, they're hooking us up with a discount. Use the discount code SILVER15 at the checkout for 50% off of your order. Whether you're repping my merch, rocking the alien tees, or grabbing something from their own lineup to wear in the dark, Printing Aliens has got you covered. Just saying, if you buy my merch, you'll be helping me directly. So, no pressure, it won't hurt my feelings. Big thanks to Printing Aliens for this collab. Now, back to the Q&A. So guys, as you heard, I just got this huge, brand new collaboration with Printing Aliens, and yeah, they just reached out to me during this recording, so I just had to fit this in here somehow. But, yeah, let's get right into the Q&A. Hey guys, it's Silver Underworld. I'm so excited to finally do this. First off, very sorry for the long delay. It's definitely been a minute. I've been super busy with work and just trying to figure out how to jump back into the YouTube grind. But I've got to give it credit where it's due. Thank you all so much for letting me hit 1,000 subscribers. Seriously, that's a huge milestone for me. I couldn't have done it without you guys. Thank you. There were moments where I felt like quitting. I was stuck. There was just no growth. But when it felt like no one was watching and nothing was working, but I just kept uploading. I just kept pushing. People keep saying, just keep going. Keep pushing yourself. You'll get there. I just took their advice. Eventually, I caught a break. And you were all there to be part of that. Again, thank you. So yes, I'm treating myself a little vacation. After all the stress of grinding to get the first 1K, I think I earned it. I love narrating and I want to keep it fun, but sometimes that burns me out. That's how the good content keeps coming. Also, while I answer your questions, I'll be adding some of my own gameplay footage, so you'll have something to watch in the background. Unless you're the type that just listens in the car or in their headphones while working out, totally fine. Nothing crazy is going to be on screen, so you're not going to be missing anything visually. And just a heads up, I do have some notes that I'll be reading off of because, let's be real. I tend to ramble off topic sometimes, and this helps me stay focused while, keeping it fun. Now, for this Q&A, questions and answers, I've added timestamps for each question in case you want to skip around or find parts that you find interesting. But I recommend sticking around because I just might throw a little bonus story or surprise or two along the way. Let's jump right in. Question 1. What made you want to start your channel? From Kimberly Shephard. Thank you, Kimberly. Really good question. What made me want to start my YouTube channel was, funny enough, working at Aldi. For those who are not from the United States or from the Midwest, Aldi is a small grocery store chain that spreads all over the Midwest and even parts of Pennsylvania. It's known for being fast-paced, especially the cashiers, who scans foods insanely fast. Anyway, during my morning shifts, just staying awake is rough, and I tried coffee, Red Bull, Monster, even spicy food in the morning, but nothing really worked for me. One day I was scrolling through YouTube just to, look through music, and I randomly stumbled across a horror narration. I thought to myself, I like scary games, they keep me awake. Why not trying this, while working? I remember specifically it was Mr. Nightmare, the guy that has 1 million subscribers. After listening to a ton of his content, I realized I was only staying awake because, actually I felt more alert. Like I could hear my boss talking from across the building, even with my earbuds in. I think the stories were, making me jittery, keeping me on edge in a good way. After listening to a bunch of different YouTubers, I thought, you know what? I could do this. Just narrate stories. Sounds simple enough. So I uploaded my first YouTube video. It's still up right now. And yeah, it sounded pretty bad, and honestly, I think it was a great start. As I kept uploading, I realized I was kind of mid-average, so I started experimenting, adding immersive sound effects, tweaking my delivery, putting in more effort. Sure, it does take a lot more work, but I want to be the YouTuber that delivers quality over quantity. I bounced around different channels to see what kind of niche I can probably get myself into, and that's when I bumped into Dark Somnium. That guy does storytelling and uses voice acting abilities. I was just amazed, to be honest. So I figure I'd put my own twist in these stories, and that's how I end up narrating the way I do now. So, yeah, weirdly enough, I gotta thank Aldi for accidentally kickstarting my YouTube journey. So, thank you so much for the question. Question 2. What is your favorite type of horror? By Anonymous. I really like this question. Personally, I love psychological horror. Let's be real. Our minds can be terrifying. The idea that your own thoughts can trap you, betray you, or spiral into something dark, that hits different. Another favorite of mine is stories where a woman attacks a man. Back when my wife was still my girlfriend, I started getting into horror stories that involve a male lead dealing with a deranged girlfriend, wife, or female friend / coworker. That kind of horror really piqued my interest. There's something chilling about seeing a guy completely disarmed and vulnerable, especially when he's chained, cornered, or trapped. It makes you feel powerless, like you are literally at death's door. That kind of thrill just sticks with you. And lately, I started getting into AI horror, and I don't mean AI generated stories. I mean horror where AI itself is the villain. Think of the movie Megan, or think of the movie iRobot. You know, artificial intelligence is the bad guy trying to take over or eliminate humans. I'm a techie guy, so the concept is starting to really grab my attention. And by the way, the horror movie Megan is awesome. It's good. Thank you so much for the question. Question 3. Do you do other things in life outside of bringing us unique horror? From Taylor Fain, 6757. Yes, I definitely do have hobbies outside of horror. I've been playing video games ever since I got my first PlayStation 2 back in 2000. I was like 5. These days, I'm really into VR, virtual reality games. Especially the ones where you can shoot guns or swing swords. It's fun, honestly. It's a solid workout. I also love watching movies and watching anime with my wife. We chill with our 2 dogs, and we enjoy planning vacations together. She's not just my partner, she's also my main hobby too. She's the best. And almost everything I do somehow includes her, and honestly, I don't know where I would be right now without her. Thank you for the question. Okay, this one's a little creepy, but question 4. What do you think happens when you die? Honestly, I'm stumbling already. Yeah, that question scares me, but I think it's important to talk about it. The truth is, I really don't know. I've watched a lot of theories, documentaries, and shows that try to explain what might happen, and I've even written a story to help myself imagine what it could be like, because, I have a phobia. My number one fear isn't heights or getting shot at or even losing a loved one. It's death itself. The idea that your life just fades away. The thought really freaks me out, but I'm not sure if death is what I'm afraid of or maybe it's actually the unknown. I'll give you an example. I've noticed there's a pattern that, I feel uneasy in deep, dark water, an ocean or a dark lake. Not because of the water, but because I don't know what's beneath me. The same feeling hits when I'm watching videos about outer space. Sometimes I even sometimes I have to pull my phone away from my face because of how vast, empty darkness there is, and just makes me feel uncomfortable. It's the sense of not knowing, of total uncertainty. So yeah, maybe it's not just death I fear, but the unknown that comes with it. I was raised Catholic, and I do believe I'm a good person. I try to live right, and so I think that when my time comes, I'll go to heaven, as long as I stay in the right path. Thank you for the question. You really threw me off. You might notice me stumbling. Question 5. How long does it normally take for you to make your videos? From sourcing the stories, to narrating, to putting it all together to feed us. Parentheses. I feel like a lot of people think that you just record these with haste and throw them online, but I feel like there's a lot more to it than just that. Thank you so much for the question, and honestly, that's very fair. Yeah, there is a lot of YouTubers who just record, and read a story and send it off to the editor and post it. Honestly, I have a huge amount of respect for people that could just do that. Fast-paced work, keeping up the quality. That's just not how I do things. I like to take my time. I really want each video to feel immersed. So I work at a comfortable pace. I say it takes me at least 3 days minimum to get a video ready. There was even a time where I had to work a 30-minute story and it ended up editing for like hours, up to like 3 in the morning. It can get intense. I'm just a bit of a perfectionist. I want to make sure everything sounds timely, right. Just mwah. If the story is from Reddit, that part alone might take a while. Skimming for a solid story might take around 5 to 10 minutes, but then I have to ask the writer for permission to post it, which can take from either a few hours or a couple of days, depending on how active they are. Once I have a story, I'll read it through carefully. That might take me, 30 to 50 minutes, depending on the length. I write down every character and figure that comes out of these heavily dialogue, parts. If a character speaks a lot, I decide whether I do the voice acting or I hire someone to do it for me. That process, choosing, the actor, reaching out to them, usually takes around 10 minutes to a few hours, sometimes even a couple of days. But thankfully, I found a good rhythm and a solid group of voice actors to reach out to. Oh, and I mess up a lot when I narrate, so I usually have to spend an extra hour just cutting out my mistakes. If I don't hear back from a voice actor after like 2 days, for example, I just move on to the next person that could, take their place. The part is cool. No one in my circle really asks for money, like at all. And that's what I love about this community. We do it for the love of craft, not the paycheck. All we ask is for credit on a YouTube or on their X account. That's when it really starts to become more fun for me. There's no stress about budgets, just pure creativity and collaboration. So yeah, on average, it takes me around 4 days just to prep everything before I even start narrating. That's why I have multiple stories prepped all at once, in case one processes faster than the other. Once I got everyone's lines, I do a quality check on everything. Thankfully, I'm not too picky because these people I work with are amazing to work with. Sometimes I have to piece a story together and think, this part could use a little extra oomph. I'll message the actor and say something like, hey, can you throw in a little grunt in here? Or, you nailed it, but can you just try saying, help me, instead of, help me. Once everything's recorded, edited, polished, I finalize it into my studio, which I work in 6 days a week. There are a lot of moving parts behind the scenes just to bring one story to life. It sounds like a lot, but honestly, it doesn't feel that way anymore. I'm sure there are narrators out there who found a smoother system and they can knock it out faster than me, but I'm working at the best pace I can and maybe I'll figure it out. But thank you for the question. Really good. Question 6. What's the creepiest story you've ever read that actually stuck with you long after recording? Honestly, the story that stuck with me the most is the one that I wrote myself. It's called The Weight of Silence. Remember earlier when I talked to myself about being scared to death? Well, I originally wrote that story for myself. It started as a way to face my fear, but then I started adding more layers, characters, emotions, connections, meaning. Eventually I thought, you know what? I should just post this. I wrote it to keep myself to feel better of the idea that death isn't the end, but more like a beginning of the end, a transition. And I didn't want death to be something terrifying, like a grim creature. I wanted him to feel human, someone who's been around for eons, full of wisdom, calm, and understanding. After listening to tons of near-death experience stories, I did notice a pattern of people saying they saw Jesus or their dog or a loved one during that moment. So I took that knowledge and wove it into my story. The main character is going through a near-death experience, and that's how he was able to talk to death directly. The whole thing became very personal, and in the end, I really liked how it turned out. Oh, and there was another story from Dark Somnium, which really inspired me to do this style of stories. It really hit me hard. It's called Only the Classics. It's about a mom and a dad who left their daughter in the front yard for just a moment, and a kidnapper takes her. Ronnie, Dark Somnium himself, played as the dad, and he voiced the role so deep and emotional. It honestly blew me away. It felt so real, and I had to save it in my private playlist just because it really impacted me that much, and sometimes I play it just to get myself pumped up. So thank you so much for the question. Question 7. Do you ever get scared while narrating, or are you totally desensitized at this point? Believe it or not, I don't get scared that often when I narrate, but there was this one story that got me a little, it's called I Played a Horror Game. I actually posted it recently, so if you're curious, check it out and you'll see why. So the story is about the guy who is playing a horror game while streaming online. As I'm reading it, he is describing the environment, and it was eerily similar to mine. He mentions hearing a voice behind him, and I swear, while recording, I legit looked over my shoulder. I was sitting in a dark room, my wife's asleep, the dogs are asleep, and it's just dead silent in the house. And I'm just sitting here, just trying to push through the narration while constantly checking behind me. If you hear me, breathing heavy in the video, yeah, that's real. I just wanted to finish that story as quick as possible. So yeah, I might not get scared often, but when the story lines up a little too perfectly to my environment, yeah, it's gonna get me. You see what I go through for you guys. Thank you so much for the question. Question 8. How do you choose the stories you narrate? Do you have a specific vibe or theme you aim for? Honestly, it's all about the vibe. Sometimes I'm just in the mood for a good psychological horror, so I'll hunt down something that really messes up your mind. Or other times, I want a more action-heavy horror. Fast-paced, intense, a lot of movement. And then there are days where I'm like, I don't feel like doing too much editing, but I still want to make something fun. So I'll look into a story with a female cast, like a crazy girlfriend or deranged wife story. Dude, it depends on my mood. So yeah, no strict rules. It's really a creative flow. I follow whatever vibe feels right in the week. So thank you again for the question. Question 9. What's your process for editing sound effects and music? It always feels so immersive. Do you picture scenes as you build the audio? Absolutely. I totally picture the scenes as I build. Growing up, I was obsessed with horror movies. My first one ever was Child's Play, the one with Chucky. I also watched Godzilla, superhero movies like Spider-Man, action films like Fast and Furious. The one I always pay attention to is, even as a kid, was the sound effects. The boom, boom, the shakes, the bass, the vibration. My dad had a knack for the best speakers. Bose, Sony, Philip. I loved all of it. When I got into YouTube horror, I noticed that there's not a lot of YouTubers that are really pushing sound design like the way the movies do. And again, I kept bringing up this dude. He's just really great. Until I found Dark Somnium. His work really blew me away, and I thought, man, that probably took a lot of effort. And I want to try that too. So I made an experimental video where I added more sound effects, and the feedback was positive, and that just gave me the green light to start going crazy with it. Over time, I kept adding more and more to the point where it basically felt like an audio movie. But then I realized that I might be overdoing it. Like, there was this one video where I was just adding footsteps everywhere, even when it was not necessary, and it made my upload schedule a lot slower. So you'll notice in my most recent videos that I dial back the sound a bit. Now I focus only on the important sounds, the ones that actually pull you into the scene. Sometimes I make my own sound effects, like clapping, breathing, knocking on a door, and I even ask my wife to, sometimes make some sounds from her own mouth. I'll grab some sounds from the internet, morph it, mix it with my own voice, add reverb, whatever it takes to get, the feeling right. And I gotta give a shout out to Phoenix Fire, Back to Ashes. You really helped me level up my sound design, and I really appreciate you, big bro. Thank you again for the question. Have you ever had a paranormal or unexplained experience of your own? Yes, I have. And even after everything that happened, I still don't believe in ghosts. Strange, right? A horror narrator that doesn't believe in spirits, but this moment, it still clings to me. Even now, years later, I can't explain what I saw, or more accurately, what I felt. I was 15 years old at the time. Just a regular night. No Ouija board, no horror movie, no playing with the forces that I didn't understand. None of that. My brother and I were visiting my cousin Josh at his apartment. The day was totally normal. Snacks, games, jokes, just teenage life. Eventually the night rolled in. Josh's apartment had a finished basement, but instead of, being split into rooms, it was just one massive open space, like a converted den. There was a bed against a wall on the far side, a TV, and one corner that was just a narrow hallway that led into a bathroom, laundry room, and a back exit. The floor was carpeted, thick enough for you to feel movement right through it, like every step, every shift of weight. The carpet was thick enough for you to feel movement through it. It was close to midnight. The lights were off, the apartment was quiet, and the three of us were just winding down. Josh had already been knocked out on his bed. My brother and I spread out into the carpet nearby, trying to get comfortable. I had my old iPhone 4S out. Yeah, real vintage at this point. Wired earbuds in, brightness on max, just watching YouTube to pass the time. I think I was watching PewDiePie at the time. Maybe even one of those weird old Play-Doh toys unboxings. You know, the strange stuff you watch when you're not ready to sleep. My eyes had adjusted to a glow on the screen, so everything else faded to black around me. It was like being in a spotlight surrounded by shadows. I couldn't see beyond a few inches outside of the light of my phone. And that's when I felt it. A shift in the carpet. Soft, slow, deliberate. Footsteps. Not far away, right next to my head. I froze. My brain tried to rationalize. Maybe it was my brother just getting up. But I could still feel him next to me as I'm kicking him, breathing. Still. Whoever it was, they were standing directly above me. Again, I was laying on the ground, my back to the carpet. I didn't dare turn my head. Instead, I tilted my phone upward, lifting it into the darkness above me. The glow of the screen cut through the void for just a second, but I saw nothing. Just a dull blue light bouncing off the air. I didn't speak, didn't ask who it was. I just held my phone up for like 6 seconds. Like showing it to a stranger in the dark would make them go away. And they didn't move. So I went back to watch my video. But the weight, the presence, was still there. Eventually I heard them move. A soft shuffle of feet dragging across the carpet. They walked away from me, towards the bathroom hallway. I was trying to stay calm. I convinced myself it must have been Josh, but I've never heard his bed creaked. And my brother, again, I nudged him with my foot and he was still there. Something was off. Deeply off. The bathroom door was open. I could feel the cold air drifting out of it. I waited until my video ended. Then carefully, I sat up. My eyes had finally started to adjust to the dark. Josh was still in bed. My brother was still asleep beside me. The house was silent. And my aunt? Fast asleep upstairs. So, who walked past me? The realization hit like a shiver up my spine. My heart started racing. The silence around me wasn't peaceful anymore. It was charged, heavy. I stood up, walking towards the bathroom, every instinct in me screaming to turn back. But I peeked inside. It was empty. But I swear on everything, I felt someone walked in there. I felt the pressure of them, the warmth, the weight of their footsteps. I know what I saw, but I can't explain any of it, and that's when panic set in. Something inside me snapped, something animalistic. My brain said, nope, not dying here, not tonight. I spun around and bolted across the room, full-on Olympic sprint, and dove headfirst into Josh's bed like a scared kid jumping into their parents' bed during a thunderstorm. Josh shot awake, yelling, "What the is going on?" My brother stood up, confused. I was breathing heavy, sweating, trying to explain, tripping over my words, and then Josh went still. He looked at me and said, "Yeah, you seen it too?" I froze. "What do you mean?" He stared at the hallway and said, "I've been seeing something down here almost every night." Yeah, that's when I stopped asking questions. To this day, I have no idea what that was. Was it a ghost? A trick of my eyes? Something left over of a dream just clingering over at the edge of my sleep? Don't know. All I know is that I still remember the weight of those footsteps, the carpet shifts, the change in the air, and sometimes when I'm laying on my bed, earphones in, lights off, eyes focused on my screen, I swear I feel that thing just standing right behind me, waiting. Hopefully you liked that little story. Thank you so much for the question. Question 11. What's the hardest part about voice acting horror? Getting into character or keeping it consistent through the recording? Honestly, the hardest part for me is when I do collabs with other narrators. You can probably tell my voice is deep, but it's not as quite as deep or thunderous as some folks like Phoenix Fire or, Back to Ashes. So when I'm given the roles like a starship captain or some heroic leader, I start overthinking. I picture characters sounding like Mufasa, and I sometimes doubt if I have that kind of range. It can be discouraging, but I still give it a try, give everything I got. With that said, I really think I shine when it comes to like scared or panic characters, which is the ones I mostly play as. I've seen tons of horror movies and played a lot of scary games, so I learned to tap into those emotions and mirror the fear and tension. That's my comfort zone. I know exactly how those characters breathe, panic, whisper, or scream. I love bringing that kind of intensity to life when I narrate these stories. Question 12. What character do you like to be in a horror story? I like to be the character in Dark Somnian's video called The Voids. I'd be the guy who just watches the Voids fight to the death. Good question, thank you. Question 13. What do you do to detox from horror? Like, is it a comfort show or a hobby that helps you reset after all the spooky stuff? Oh yeah, I usually take long vacations. I really do not want to get burnt out from doing horror stories. I love voice acting. I love doing all this. So I normally just hang out with my wife, going on dates, and I would play video games, watch movies, hang out with friends. Or, lately we've been watching an entire anime series. But yeah, it's pretty easy to get burnt out, but I try to make it fun. That's the only way for me to keep it going. All right, thank you for the question. Question 14. Do you have a project or series you've been wanting to do on Silver Underworld, but haven't had the chance yet? Yeah. I'd love for someone to animate any of my videos. Drawing, animation, digital art. That would be awesome to see. I saved a bunch of videos for me to watch, and I really want to have the funds and ability to create my own avatar, Silver Underworld, to do animated episodes. I already made an episode of Silver Underworld. It's my own doodles, drawings. It's live right now. But yeah, I that really pushed me to want more. And lately I've been seeing these AI programs, helping people achieve those kind of dreams. So maybe I'll get into that. We'll see. But thank you for the question. Question 15. What's one underrated horror story, author, or subgenre you think deserves way more love? I think we need more stories about AI turning evil onto their creators. Something eerie about computers attacking for evil reasons. And I like stories where they describe an alternate society. The ones I think people might know are like Hunger Games and Divergent series. It's where everyone has a specific role in order to survive. I like those stories. Society is different. Everyone has a new set of rules, laws. Those are ones I'll binge watch for hours. Yeah, I need more of those kind of stories. Question 16. Is your wife ever creeped out by your recordings? In the beginning, yeah. My wife has always been supportive, and she still is right now. But at first, she had no idea I had this hidden side of me where I suddenly become very vocal, like an unhinged horror character. And, I'll be recording, and out of nowhere, I'll be screaming, and she'll get scared half to death, breathing fast. Like, what happened? What? I'm like, I'm so sorry. Eventually, we made a deal. I give her the heads up if there's a script with any kind of yelling or screaming. Yeah, she hates getting startled like that, but in a funny way. So now it's like, hey babe, can you put your headphones on? That way I don't feel shy either, because now I felt bad. But that's back when I was living with my parents. I felt more awkward about it, but when we got our own place, I built the home studio, and it's been a total game changer. It does get hot in here, and I better record quick because I might lose oxygen, but it's never come to that. But I'll take that over, a sudden mid-scream. But I still remind her, regardless, that, hey, don't worry, if you ever hear someone like dying, it's just me, voice acting. But yeah, thank you for the question. Question 17. If Silver Underworld was turned into a movie or animated show, what would it look like? Who would voice you? I just mentioned this earlier. I'll say it again for this question. I really want to have the funds and ability to create my character, Silver Underworld, with his own animated stories. I already made an episode of Silver Underworld and would like to do more. Who would voice Silver Underworld? I mean, I would do it. Silver is a beast. That's the name, Silver Underworld. He's the beast. He's a creature. He used to be human, but was changed through cosmic magic. But if you guys want to know more about him, I'll tell you everything I know. But thank you so much for the question. Question 18. What's one piece of gear or software that you cannot live without as a horror narrator? I think this one's pretty obvious. My microphone. But I think that would be too easy, but let me say my soundproof room is where I'm at right now. I like it. I built it. It's all mine, and I'm really proud of it. I would like to make sure my neighbors didn't hear me scream, because I have a lot of roles where it required me to scream or be loud. But yeah, I love this because I can clap, and the sound dies out really quickly. I like it. Thank you so much for the question. Question 19. How do you stay inspired and avoid burnout? Horror takes a lot of creative energy. Oh my God, you're telling me. I take a lot of toxic breaks. I really try to avoid pressure myself to move fast on uploading videos. If I was gaining views rapidly, I would upload more. It would be worth it for me. But that's not the case. And I usually find horror stories that I find very interesting, and that just brings me back. Okay, last one. It's supposed to be question 20, but it's not really a question. I don't know, but it's more like a critique, and I'm here to address it. So here we go. Your storytelling is kind of different. I want to like it, but your random pauses ruin the immersion. So I got this a couple of times in my comments, and I can't keep ignoring it, but I'm here to address it. So totally fair. I actually noticed that too, and yeah. In my head, I'm aiming for that cool narrator voice, but at the same time, I'm trying to stay accurate to the script, which can sometimes cause me to do too much pausing. I am walking through the kitchen, and I turn left. There he is, just standing there, menacingly. But yeah, at the same time, I'm just, like I said, just trying to stay accurate to the script, which can sometimes make me pause too much. I get that it can pull people out of the moment. That being said, I'm going to be working on it. I read a bit more, man, I'm just sorry, guys. I'll read a bit more naturally and smoother in my upcoming videos. Just give me a little more grace time I can tweak and improve. I want every story to hit hard and flow better and keep you guys locked in. And feedback like this genuinely does help me. So thank you. I really appreciate that. And that's a wrap for our questions and answers Q&A. You guys really came through with the questions. They were wild, deep, and just straight up hilarious. I had a blast answering them. Thank you all. Seriously, again, thank you guys for helping me reach 1,000 subscribers. It's insane. I'm beyond thankful for each and one of you. Whether you join from my horror narrations, my random stories, or just my rumblings in here by mistake and stuck around, you guys are just the real MVPs. Thank you. I got plenty more creepy tales and dark confessions and crazy content cooking up, so don't go anywhere. And if you guys ever want to ask me more weird questions, you already know I'm game. Just drop them in the comments, and if I build up enough, I'll do another Q&A. Until then, stay weird, stay spooky, and remember, good night, farewell, and remember, don't get lost in the dark.